Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is the horoscope for Virgo. If Virgo is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so we have the Queen of Discs. Yes, that's right. The Earth Mama herself. I love the Queen of Discs. Of course, we're Virgos. She pretty much represents us, doesn't she? Okay, knock, knock, knock. We're going to see what's going on in these tea leaves. And so if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Also, if you want to hit the like button or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. All right. So we have, it looks like a person right in the middle here with a bow and arrow. Here's the head, here's the body, the legs. Here is the arrow. You can see it's pointed up this way. Now we have a person standing up here and a heart right behind them. You can see this is the head and the hair kind of flowing. The arm is extended outward. We also have a person who is standing over here who's kind of looking up and looks like they're almost kind of in a bit of distress, possibly. Now down here we have two more people. One looks like they're marching. You can see the leg right up here. And another person looks like they're just kind of following behind. Okay, this almost kind of reminds me of the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. You can see the head here, the body, the legs would be right down in here. So to me, it seems like we have kind of a complicated situation going on. I feel like you probably are in a relationship, or you are single possibly, but not interested, right, in having a relationship. I feel like kind of like whatever you have going on is like what you're happy with. Probably what you just want. It fits, right? You're pretty good with how things are. Well, I feel like there is somebody from the past, okay? And that's our person with the arrow. They're right in the middle. This is somebody that you know pretty well, but I think it's been some years, right? Like you lost touch, maybe you had a breakup and, you know, things went kind of wonky, a little bit, maybe a little dirty, a little bit of back and forth and so on. But the years have kind of melted away those memories, right? Isn't it funny how that happens? We could go through the worst kind of breakup, and years later, we look back with the fondness on it. Oh yeah, that was a pretty cool person, pretty good relationship, pretty good, pretty awesome. And you don't remember all of the hysteria, all of the just absolute tears, anger, you know, back and forth, the ill will towards one another, right? So I feel like this person is coming back around for one reason or another. They have shown back up. Maybe you accidentally, you know, bumped into them at the grocery store in the town you grew up, or maybe they found you on Facebook randomly. You have like a school reunion coming up this year or something, and now you're back connected with this person and they're messaging you, you know, whatever it is. Here's the thing though, you know, I don't think that you are necessarily interested, but I feel like there's almost kind of a stirring of, it feels kind of nice to be noticed, right? Feels kind of nice to be maybe flirted with a little bit, right? Not that you're gonna fall for it, like hook, line, and sinker, no, but yeah, it doesn't feel terrible, you know, for somebody to look at you and think, yeah, that's a gorgeous person right there, you know? But I also think that, like I said, you might be in a relationship, you might be single and happy with being single. But if you are in a relationship, I don't think that things are terrible. I don't think that this is like a thing where you just absolutely feel lonely and trapped, or you know, you just have kind of given up on, you know, anything better or whatever. I don't think it's like that. I just think that, you know, once in a while, you might come to the realization that, yeah, nobody's really taken an interest in you in a long time. Nobody's really come out and just flirted with you in a long time. And so I could see there's maybe a little bit of, you know, it's like a tickle. I would feel a little tickled here. But I also feel like there's some kind of jealousy here. There's some jealousy. And, you know, I wonder if there is something on your end where you're kind of jealous. I feel like maybe even not having to do with this person coming back around. I almost wonder if there have been times, not too long ago even, where you have been considering maybe leaving. Maybe you do want to be alone. And I'm just looking at this heart up here. It just feels like you've been wounded emotionally. In the romantic sector of your life. And maybe this is recent, maybe it's a long time ago. But as Virgos, you know, I think we're pretty good at trying to move forward, but do we ever actually let go of somebody wronging us? Especially if it's something like infidelity or just lying to us. Financial infidelity, or, you know, just like being left out of the loop of things. How can I talk about this? So recently there's been this like pattern I've noticed, and it doesn't have anything to do with me, but it's come up randomly, even in like, I saw it in a movie the other day. I know about some situations in IRL, in real life, right? Where there's somebody in a group of people, right, that's been left out of information because everybody's afraid to tell them, or thinks, oh, this might be something that will destabilize them. This might be something that will hurt their feelings. They might feel really, you know, some type of way, right? And I think this happens a lot, like when people are, you know, you get pregnant, or somebody gets pregnant, right? And you have a friend or something that they've been struggling with fertility, and you don't know, like, I don't want to tell them because it's like, I don't want them to feel like I'm gloating necessarily, or like, you know, like, oh, look at, you know, I'm pregnant and I know you're really working hard on this, but, you know, whatever. And so then you decide, I'm just not going to say anything until I have to. And it makes it so much worse. Especially, can you imagine being the person that everybody around you is hiding this thing, and then you find out, oh, everybody knew, but nobody wanted to tell me because they thought I was going to like fly off the handle. You know, I'm laughing because that's probably why they wouldn't want to tell me, or I'd cry. They're like, I don't want to see Lenor cry today for the 15th time. No, thankfully I'm very easygoing about a lot of stuff. I don't, you know, I mean, I care, of course, congratulations, mazel tov, but like, you know, either way, I'm just here. I want everybody to be happy. You don't have to hide anything from me. As long as I get to go to bed by 10 o'clock at night and you don't wake me up, you know, before the sun's up, then we're good, right? So I feel like, you know, in this situation, it's kind of, I mean, I don't know. It's almost, I almost feel like there's a betrayal, right? And it maybe is like an ancient betrayal, like an old thing. Like, hey, you guys met, you know, when you were in like high school and this thing happened like your first year of college, and now you're like 55, right? Yet it's still something that is held on to. And, you know, I wonder if this is, you know, where at this point in your life, you kind of, it's not any one thing necessarily, although it could be, right? Like I said, it could be like infidelity or that kind of lying. But I almost feel like it's like you just up and I'm ready to go. And it almost feels like a sign that somebody from your past, who probably, I imagine, you haven't talked to in years, or probably you haven't even thought about them in years, right? All of a sudden they show up in your life. You're reminded, hey, I'm still a person with warm blood. People are still attracted to me. I'm feeling pretty dang good about myself. And maybe this is that little bit of energy you need, right? That confidence that you have been lacking to get you to, change your life. Now, I'm not saying you're going to leave your relationship so you can get together with some fool that you knew in like, you know, 11th grade or whatever. No. Okay. Listen, we're Virgos. We're not that easily swayed. You got to be putting something down. You hear me? But no, I don't think that, but I think it is. It's kind of like it's tipped it. It's tipped the scale in that direction that, hey, something's got to change here, because I don't know that this is your forever person. And I'm looking up there, there's a heart with like, it's not an arrow through it. It looks like a sword right into the side, which means two things to me. It's a wounded heart. It's a heart of sorrow. But it's also, the sword represents that airy quality, that mental substance, right? That clarity that we sometimes didn't know we were lacking. Oh, what a punch to the gut that feels like, right? When all of a sudden you look at a situation and it's so clear to you, I have been a fool here. Or you know what? This is how I want to reframe it. I've been so devoted to love. I have been so devoted to family. I've been so devoted to this union, the word that I have given, my bond, that it's made me make some bad choices. I have been with blinders on, right? And so, you know, I feel like this isn't necessarily a very sad time either for you, to be honest. It's just realistic. And I don't know if it's just like kind of something that happens as we get older. I'm still very prone to emotional outbursts and big feelings, definitely. But I can tell you, the older I have gotten, the more willing I am to just walk away from something. If this is not for me and it's apparent it's not for me, I'm out of there. Not out of any meanness or spite or anything like that, but it's just, why am I going to waste my time? You know, and I feel like that's kind of where you're at. Something's got to change. Something's got to give. Now, I see a person here. You can see right here, and it looks like they're planting a tree. You can see the tree up here. Here's the trunk. Okay, so I feel like in this next period of time, I see you really clearing out a lot of your life. Decluttering. People, the house, right? Maybe you're selling the house, maybe you're moving. Maybe it's literally just decluttering things, creating space. But I also see you finding a motivation that you have forgotten. And it's because your life has been kind of feeling oppressive, right? Just the weight of the stress and the unhappiness, the discontent. And as you have been proactive in changing this, I see you. I see you moving around more freely, feeling yourself in your body. I don't know. I know I keep saying I don't know about you, but for me, right, when I am super stressed out, I'm having like panic attacks, I'm anxious, social anxiety on 100. I don't feel like I'm in my body most of that time. I don't think about, you know, being grounded or centered. I'm just trying to survive the moment. You know what I'm saying? But when I get into a place that feels like I belong there, when I am in my sanctuary, when I am in my temple, when I am in my zone, everything flows so easily, so freely. There's space for me to feel my body and to move around, to be connected to the universe, right? To the world that is my environment. And I feel you really having this lightness to you. Now, the tree really represents family. We know that. But it is also the tree of life, right? The Sephiroth. It is a representation of our being, both below, which is, you know, the physical world, and above, which is our psychic, emotional, and spiritual spheres. But also the tree is so much about investing in a future, right? If you could imagine living somewhere and you know you're going to leave in, you know, a few weeks, I don't know how likely you are to plant a tree. Maybe. I don't know. But if you have found your plot of land and you hope to not only get old there, but maybe your kids will live there, maybe their kids will live there, and so on. You know, I could see planting not only one tree, but a whole dang forest, right? For everybody to enjoy. And yeah, I see you getting out of the situation that you have just been managing through and getting out into this place where there's a lot of room to grow, a lot of room to really build that home, that legacy. And even as you're listening to this, you might be thinking, yeah, I don't know. That seems, I'm not even thinking, I'm thinking about paying bills and not fighting with my husband, right? And I hear you. Sometimes it is just like that, right? But then other times, yeah, when we're brave, when we live with intention, we follow our true will. That is our true will. Our reason for being here, for being in this body. Why? Why are we manifest? Why did we choose to be born, if we do choose, right? Of course. But why are you here? This is your true will. We all need to figure it out. Not only do we need to figure it out, this is the part that kind of makes me laugh a little bit, is that within some grade systems, it's all about finding the true will. Well, what do you do after you figure it out? Because that's where a lot of us are lacking. Once we figure it out, it's very easy to abandon that path, because that path is never easy. That path is never easy. It takes a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice. But it's worth it. It is maybe the only way. I don't know. But here's the good news. It's individual to each of us. So there's no one prescribed way or method or technique or, sacred utterance or deity or any of that. It is all individual to each of us. And all paths, all people and all paths equally as valid as the next. So let's take a look. We have, it looks like a face, but also a nest with a fish jumping out of it. So immediately I'm thinking nest egg, because the fish represents money, resources. The nest is the home. That's our place that we go and lay our heads, where we, rest and get rejuvenated, recharged, and all of this. We have a bird flying. We have migration. We have a person who loved birds, chickens and ducks, to be exact. You can see right here, the person, here's the duck, here's the chicken. Maybe somebody who lived on a farm, or they had backyard chickens and maybe ducks as well, domesticated ducks. And flowers, and they had flowers gardens. Also very attached to the number 2. So this person is coming through and it looks like we have somebody who is watching you. They're here to tell you that there's somebody else who's watching you. And it does feel almost kind of, I don't know, the first word I thought was like a sickening feeling. There's a sickening feeling when I'm thinking of this person, because I was going to say it's like jealousy, envy. Not really. There's just a disdain. I don't know what happened, but this person, I feel like you don't even know them, or you don't know who they are. Maybe you have interactions or you've had them with them, but they're not somebody that you register deeply, right? And listen, if you've ever worked at a place that has like a lot of employees, like I remember I worked at, which one was it? It was either PetSmart or the other one. What's the other one called? PetSmart and I don't know. I can't even remember. Petco or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, one of those years. I mean, I was like a teenager. And there were so many people that worked at this place. right? Tons of people I never even knew, met, whatever. I mean, I maybe did, but I don't remember them. So when I think of like a place like this, that's what comes to mind for me, is like working somewhere where almost every shift you're meeting new people. Not the whole crew, but some, right? You're like, oh shoot, have you been here long? I've never met you. But yeah, for some reason it feels like this person, and it could be like a work thing, you never retain their name, or their face doesn't, maybe kind of familiar, but I don't for sure remember where I know that person from, like that kind of thing. But I feel like, I don't know. I don't think it's like a stalking thing so much as like, I just feel like there's a sourness, but there's a sickening feeling around them. I don't know what it is. Something about them. There's that thing they keep saying on the internet, like, what's it called? I got the ick from somebody where I just feel icky. Like I'm totally shut down because of like whatever somebody did or said or whatever. That's kind of the feeling around this person. So be careful. But yeah, you have this person watching out over you. And I think it's maybe like a grandmother or like a family friend who is older, like maybe grandma's peer, generation or whatever. But they watch over you. There was a fondness there. Flowers, ducks, and chickens. Very much related to this person. They keep showing me all these birds and flowers, and they're very proud of them. I keep seeing like purple, lots of purple flowers. So anyways, let's go ahead. We're going to do our lucky numbers. Let's do some lucky numbers, Virgo. Let's see if I can guess one. All right. I never do. Yesterday, I guess 27 and 7 came up. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. I'm getting warm. Okay. I'm going to guess for a lucky number 22. 22. No, 79. 79. 46. 79, 46. 100. Look, it was almost 33. I mean, that's not 22, but it's a little closer. But we had 100. 100. Now we're going to do our inner child oracle cards. I'm just going to flip through here. And we'll stop where it feels right. It says, number 2, accept what is. The act of acceptance will bring peace. The act of acceptance will bring peace. I love this image. Oops. There we go. It's very pretty. It's a person kind of sitting there thinking. I like it. I'm always having to work on just accepting stuff for how it is. Like, I expect everybody around me to accept things for how they are. So when it's my turn, yeah, I might have a little trouble, but yeah, it's something that I do. I have to actively tell myself, Lenor, chill out, girl. Like, this isn't, most of the time, it's not even my deal, right? And I have found this about being a mom. This is the biggest thing for me, because I do the channel, but I'm mostly a stay-at-home mom. And I'm always picking, I mean, if you have ever had kids, or been around kids, it's like picking things up all the time. So all I'm doing is picking stuff up, putting it away, putting it back where it goes, throwing it away, recycling it, whatever. And when I go out in the world, that's not my home, and they aren't my kids' messes, I have to tell myself, deeply in my psyche Do not start cleaning this person's office up. Do not start picking up, you know, I'll be like at the library with my daughter, and if you've been to the library in the last, you know, 10 years or whatever, you know that there's a lot, it's very kid oriented these days. There's a lot of stuff for kids at most libraries, a lot of toys. Well, anyways, I have to fight myself from starting to pick up all of the other kids' toys, even while they're playing with them. You know, I'm like, okay, let's start picking up. So, yeah, that's my acceptance. I'm constantly struggling. I mean, among other things, of course. But, yeah, this is one of them. Not going into a place and starting to, like, clean up somebody's kitchen. Oh, let's let me do your dishes. All right. Let's, yeah, we're done. All right. So Virgo, I'm going to tell you I love you because I do. Of course I do. I don't pick favorites, but you know, you're my fellow Virgos. So, you know, I love you. There's a little extra sweetness there for you. And, if you would be so kind as to like the video, it does help the channel. The engagement, as I'm told, is, very, helpful for the channel. And gets us in the recommends to other people so the channel can grow, hopefully. And also, if you haven't subscribed, think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. And if you want to leave a comment, definitely leave a comment. Let me know what's going on with you. How was Halloween? I'm so burnt out on Halloween. I love it. You know, we're strange people, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So Halloween's cool, but it's kind of like we're always living Halloween a little bit over here. But yeah, my daughter, she had so many things going on. I went to like at least 7 events in the last week. So I'm tired. I'm burnt out on it. I'll be good if I never see a piece of candy again, for sure. Even my daughter today, I brought home like a big sack of apples, and I was like, look what I got you, and she was like, oh, it's apples, and I could tell she was like, she is also burnt on candy. We don't do a ton of sugar at home, so it's like a fun treat, but like, yeah, it's just. Whew. But if you want to share about your Halloween or what you have coming up, we have so many holidays ahead of us and so on. I would love to hear about it. I would love to hear about you. So anyways, I love you. Take care of yourself. We're going to talk in a few days. Good night. Good night.